Entrepreneurship is hard, so let's fix that and dive into our heroes' journeys. This is Taking Flight, an entrepreneur's journey, and I'm Sarah Tourville. Join me as we delve deep into the passions, expertise, and experiences of those already in flight. This show is sponsored by EO Atlanta. Hello and welcome to our EO Atlanta and other EO members around the world. It is wonderful to be here. I think you all know how much I love speaking to entrepreneurs and learning so much about their journey and how they've solved big business problems. And today, again, is going to be another very rewarding conversation. This gentleman was actually a friend of mine too, which I always think makes it even better. So today's guest is someone who has over 20 years of experience in his industry. He holds the certification for Certified Merger and Acquisition Advisor and Certified Exit Planning Advisor credentials. He's all about demonstrating his expertise and commitment to excellent in business brokerage, mergers and acquisitions, and exit planning, something which I think all business owners should be thinking about, like, what is our exit plan? He has been a member of EO Atlanta since 2019, and he is the managing partner at Transworld Business Advisors of Atlanta. Jon Roman, welcome to the podcast, Jon.
Hey, Sarah, thank you. Great to be here.
It's wonderful to have you here. So I'm so excited. You're going to teach me things. I mean, many of us have an exit plan. So
yeah, you said so many things, and I'm wondering, well, do I do all that? And then the answer is yes, I do a lot and more, but yeah, it's been a lot of words and a lot of things that I've been through.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to uncover that today, Jon. So my first question is, what did you get right? So when you took your first flight, you became this entrepreneur, what do you think was like one or two things that you really got right?
Well, before I got one of those two things right, I got a lot of them wrong. And I learned from each one of them to see why I failed and why I failed so fast. Right. And eventually, 10 years ago, I started getting things right. And right is more, using, delegation to my trust people was one of the things that I didn't do. I thought I know it all and I can handle it, and just give me more and I'll do it. And then I eventually figured out that the day has only 24 hours and that's pretty much it. We cannot extend it more than that. And if you want to do 3 or 4 different things in the same time as I was doing it, you need people. So you need to trust people. You need to coach them. You need to mentor, and then eventually you have to delegate important tasks to them so they can help you through the process. Another thing is, this is kind of a cliche, but listen to your client. Right. And don't be subjective about it, because you think you're the best, but then when it comes to the feedback coming from them, you'll figure out that you still have a lot of work to do.
That's really, really good advice. So basically bring people along with you who you can rely on and who you can trust, and listen to your clients, which sounds obvious, but it's not, is it?
Not sound obvious, but it's so hard to do because, again, you believe you are the best. You believe that you offer it what they need, but then when they come back and give you that feedback, you're far.
Yeah. So how long ago did you say you learned this? About 9 years ago, and that's when you started to see change happen?
Correct. Throughout my career, I always had a side business, and I was involved in distribution businesses, very close to having even a small manufacturer with my dad. And then I had a bunch of restaurants, service related businesses. And, we bought them wrong. We sold them even wronger. And some of them actually ended up closed because we got hit by the big recession, and, things didn't work out well in the real estate business that I had back then, or the restaurants. And and during those times, there's nothing else but just kind of figure out, what did I do wrong? What am I going to do in my life? We're talking about 2008. 2010, back then I was in 3 wrong industries, or, 3 industries nobody wanted to be. I was in banking, I was in real estate, and I was in restaurants.
Right.
None of them worked well. So I had a lot of time, unfortunately, in my hands to think about what did I do wrong and what am I going to do right.
Right. So that's interesting because I know we're going to talk about like actually what your business does, but in terms of like exit planning, I mean, this knowledge which you obviously provide is obviously also built based on a lot of actually you went through it. I mean,
The,
whether
the
you exited, not that you exited perhaps the way you wanted, but you must have learned so much.
well, the main reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I failed so much in selling my own businesses. Because I
Yeah.
thought again that I knew better. Being part of the banking world, I was very good at numbers. And I said, it's not going to be hard than selling a loan or selling a development project to somebody, right? And I always got it wrong. And that's one thing. Second, I never had a business broker to offer the services that we do, where, holds your hand and kind of teaches you things, coaching you things. They all wanted to have it all and not giving you anything back, like education wise. So it didn't feel like I wanted to trust someone that would just have kind of a hidden process and they will come at the end of the day say, okay, I sold it or I have this client or all that kind of stuff. I wanted, to be interactive. And nobody understood back then what interaction and being interactive means.
Right. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, it sounds like you had some interesting times and scary when you think you're in three industries that you maybe, which aren't doing well and you had to learn a lot. So was there somebody, has there been someone from the very beginning or someone just really, really important within that journey that you've been able to lean on?
Well, as far as being an entrepreneur has always been my mom. Back in, I'm Romanian, came from a former communist country. And back then, having a top career as my mom had was privilege and, something that the entire family should be very proud. So imagine when 3 years after the communists fell, she announced that, her resignation from, the peak of her career. Everybody, saw her as the next president of the company, all that kind of stuff. And she went there and said, I'm just leaving. I'm resigning. I want to open my own business. Back then, when people hear that, you want to open your own business, are you crazy? You
Yeah.
have so much stuff here. I mean, but she proved everybody wrong. Even her own parents and my dad was against it as well. But she
Right.
proved everybody wrong, and she managed to build a very strong business, just 7 years.
That's interesting. So what was she in when she was in corporate world? What was she doing?
She was an architectural engineer.
Right.
So her job was to really come up with ideas to build carports.
Right. Interesting. Okay. And then what was her business that she went to do?
Well, she started low. She started making all kind of textile products. And then, she got a few contracts from Turkey, and then she started a distribution company. And she was at the point when I left the country, she was at the point to buy a manufacturer of those textile products.
Right.
But, with me coming to the country, to the US, she felt like she didn't have the support. So she stuck to the distribution company.
Right. So she sounds like she was very somebody you aspired to be like in many
Absolutely.
respects.
She was very, very motivated. I don't know where she got it from. Because I didn't know my granddad very, very well. But, I mean, she was very, very motivated. She's very driven. I mean,
Yeah.
she was definitely going to be a DO. He would be a DO member, a great DO member.
Yeah.
If we will go to back in time.
Yeah. Yes, if that ever was to happen. Well, I'm so glad your mother was that shining light for you because I feel like it's good to model yourself on someone that you respect. So, so a little bit about what's going on right now, Jon, in the business. Is there any particular challenge that you and your team have had to solve recently? Something that you can maybe share with us of how you have overcome that?
Yeah. So as an EO, or we all should know, the saying, what gets you here will not get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's very popular to all EO, and I attended the strategy, with the learning event that the accelerator put together and kind of reminded me about that. And
Yeah.
it seems that that's the struggle we have. We, in the past 9 years as an agency, we have become the top Atlanta business brokerage in M&A division. However, going back to what got you here won't get you there, we'll have to, adapt. We have to obviously improve. We have to upgrade and kind of use all kind of processes that doesn't necessarily make you comfortable in the beginning. Sometimes you feel like you're wasting your time, or you hit the ceiling and you have to kind of go back to the old practices and old things that you believed in. But my role is to really keep the team, upgrading and updating and trying to innovate, trying to come up with new processes, things that sometimes we are a pioneer of a lot of things we do. And, and when you put this in the meetings and you talk to your team and say, okay, team, we got to adapt. We're not necessarily going to change, although in the next year probably will be changed, but let's adjust for now.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody looks at you like, I'm very busy. I'm handling so many clients. And why do we need to do this now? And I kept assuring them that doing that stuff now will help in the future.
Yeah.
What I tell my team all the time, I'm kind of in 6 months in advance. So for me right now, it's more like April, May, then November. I'm trying to figure out, okay, if I get there, what exactly do I need to have to be successful?
I like that.
Yeah. So, upgrading, updating, and adapting and being flexible are progress that I'm putting up pretty much every week.
But how are you doing that? How are you getting, like, are you reading things? Are you just doing tons of podcasts? Are you getting yourself out there for networking? Like, where is the inspiration coming from?
Mix of everything. So I'm always, so I don't watch news, right? Or I don't watch much TV. So all the time I'm actually giving to kind of the industry itself, trying to figure out what else is there. So I'm participating in seminars, webinars, getting certifications. That's why in the beginning you mentioned all my certified things is because I wanted to learn more. I want to see how we do things differently. And now the AI came up, right? So I'm speaking to the AI every day, like, tell me, how can I improve? What else are people using there? What can we do? How can we accomplish this goal or that and this? So it's a mix of everything. And then reading books. I mean, let's not leave that away. Reading books, actually being an Audible probably loves me for the membership that I've been paying. But it was all fine. And then podcasts too. I mean, I'm subscribed to a bunch of them, and in the beginning you have like 50 that you want to listen to, and then in time, you have to cut them off. So now I have like a few that I'm listening to.
I love that. So on the subject of Audible and books, is there a favorite book right now that you think has been just really helpful to you?
Well, we can talk about it probably for an hour, and I'm going to complete the entire bit just to talking about books. But, what got me started in my career was really, Tony Robbins. I mean, I'm talking about books that everybody and authors everybody know. Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within, right? So basically just, that was back in 2000 and kind of started making me think, okay, there is a different angle of just doing a great job. You can actually have a good business as well and trying to do things. And then Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, another great book. And then Dale Carnegie, which is, how to influence people and have friends and all that. But, and then, Rich Dad, Poor Dad was an eye opener for me. Stephen Covey with Habits, 7 Habits for Highly Efficient People. It's another book that really stood out when I started off. But a few years ago, I don't know who, but someone introduced me to Gary Keller. And Gary Keller is an author. I knew Gary Keller from Keller Williams, but didn't know Gary Keller that he was writing books. And then I picked up One Thing. It's called One Thing. And it was an eye-opener because before that I loved multitasking. I loved doing a lot of things at the same time. And Gary says, listen, the more you do that, the more you lose and waste your time. So why don't you just concentrate on one thing at a time? Yeah. So if I want to recommend a book, it would be Gary Keller, One Thing.
Gary Keller, One Thing. That just goes against the way I run my day. I feel like I'm spinning 9 plates, but Gary's saying just spin one.
I was the same way. Believe me, having the job, having the business, having employees, having all that stuff. and everybody in the same time. I was nuts. I mean, I don't know how I did it, but it worked out for.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So thank you for sharing that. That's something we should definitely go and check out. I know I will. I'm always looking for some inspiration. So what excites you about the future, Jon? Like where's the business, or where are you going? Like what does it look like? I love the way you're saying you're always thinking April. You're like a retailer. You're always thinking about, okay, it's spring fashion when we're still in winter. But tell me, like, what does the future look like?
Well, I don't like to say that we are dependent, but in my business, we are dependent on economy and all the other things. And we're depending on the government to do what they need to do in order for people to be optimistic, because if they turn negative and people don't look into the entrepreneurial side as optimistic as they are now, or they were 2 years ago, then, people coming to buy businesses will be fewer and fewer. But I'm very optimistic, and to the point that, there are businesses coming in. We have people that want to leave the corporate America and want to embrace the entrepreneur side, the business ownership. Yeah. And we see more and more of them, and they don't just come in and buy, they actually come and get educated. And that helps a lot because they understand the process. And the more you talk to them, the more you understand how the market operates. And especially the generational exchange. I am a Gen X, but then you have the Gen Zs, and you have the Apple. I don't know what's after Gen Z. I forgot the name of that.
Millennials.
Not the millennials. Millennials are done. It's the people who were born into
it's my daughter and your daughter's age, which is Gen Z.
Is it Gen Z? So it's millennial and then Gen Z. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
So now our buyers mainly are millennials, right? So you have to step out of your comfort Gen X philosophy, and you just have to move on and try to understand millennials, how they are. And that's been great to me. I mean, it's been a good learning curve.
Okay. So so what is the purpose of doing that? Is it about just making sure your business is very relevant? Because you're right. I mean, your buyers are going to be getting younger, so you need to be able to understand. And they could be doing businesses, which I imagine, like if you think about like the sharing economy, if you're looking at trying to help a company sell a sharing, I mean, there must be every model of business and every new business kind of model coming through. You could be able to understand it, haven't you? Wrap your arms around it so you know how to sell it or how to help someone exit that. That must be very interesting.
Correct. Yeah. And also, it goes to what I said. We're trying to change it, being flexible. And maybe at some point we'll just, instead of selling businesses, we're just going to work with people that want to buy into a business, right? So you never know where you're going to switch your position. And the more you know about people, the more you know about what that drives them and, what motivates them to step from the corporate where they have a nice cushion job and benefits and all that. And they decided one day to move into the business side. It's better to understand that early enough. So when you have to switch and be like, okay, there's not a lot of businesses out there just because the government does whatever the government does, and we cannot be dependent on it. Let's pick up this side of the business where we're actually helping people buying into good businesses that actually they can grow. So so that's kind of my thought process behind that.
Interesting. What can I just ask you? What like when someone comes to you and maybe they are thinking about an exit, like are there like what are the top 3 things you might be in? You think are really good signs. Obviously, good EBITDA, I would imagine, is probably good. But does it come down a lot to the people? Because many times when someone's trying to sell, you've still got to hang around for a couple of years. You got to be able to put these people and match them with a good chemistry of someone who's buying them. Would you say that's another way?
Not necessarily. Everybody thinks that if you sell a business, you have to stay 2-3 years. It really depends on negotiations. Everything is negotiable. There is not a template or a standard process that you have to go through. Some people do choose to stay with the business for 3 years. Some people, want to stay for 6 months. Now, as far as the money they're getting from the business is different because staying 3 years will get them more, staying 6 will give them less. That's obvious. But
Yeah.
some people, like myself included, appreciate my time more than money. So
Yeah.
I really don't want to stay with someone for 3 years, and I would rather just get a lump sum and move on with my life. But yeah, when it comes to exit, I mean, when we talk with people, the most important thing is their role in the business. I said in the beginning, I learned how to delegate things to people, and that helped me. But there are a lot of our clients, our prospects who still don't know how to do that. And you go in there saying, how many people do you have working for you? Like 20, 30, 40, whatever the number is. Great. So what do you do all day? Well, I do the most important tasks. And then you should see our face or I talk.
And you're like,
Okay.
yeah.
So you should do the most important things. What did the other 30 people do?
Yeah,
But anyway,
doing.
so
Yeah.
that's kind of, deteriorates, unfortunately. And for that kind of person, we'll put a 3-year plan together where we say, okay, we need to get you out of this.
Yeah.
We need to hire the right people. We need to mentor all that stuff.
Yeah.
The second thing is process. I mean, we're still getting into businesses where they use fax machines, right? So because they believe that whatever worked in the past, it will work ever again. And they don't want to change. They don't have a CRM system. They don't, their website, they look at their website like, wow, that really hurts your business. And they don't understand that because they don't want to change. They don't want to put the money to work. They feel like every time they make an update, it's waste of money.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Which we both know is not right.
No, it goes against all my principles of the importance of brand reputation and brand look and feel. And interesting. So, okay. So someone who's willing to delegate, somebody who's prepared to be relevant and invest in, what the company looks like and the brand. So,
and the third thing is financial transparency means that, if you pay your condo in Hawaii from your business, at least, put it on there and just tell people why you're doing it, right? Don't just hide it thinking that people will not know.
Yeah.
Everybody will know.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So financial transparency is very important. See, I think you must stay at EBITDA. EBITDA would be in like number 5, number 6.
Okay, good. So I learned something today. Okay. EBITDA doesn't matter as much. So that's really interesting, those points that you raised. Okay. I'm hoping that's useful for other people. So Jon, who are you? It's like, I want to learn a little bit about Jon before he started his company over in the US. Can you talk to me a little bit about what life was like? What some pivotal moments or life was like for you before that point?
Well, I came here. I was one of the lucky ones that actually had our professors during the university years were all coming from the United States. And they wanted to get their tenure in Romania. And from all the universities they could pick, they could get the big towers. And, I graduated in marketing. Nobody knows, but actually my degree is in marketing.
I did not know that.
Never worked a day in my life in marketing, but it is marketing.
Yeah.
And, like I said, we had all these professors coming from US, from large universities here, and they taught us how life in the United States is. So when we graduated, we really didn't know anything about our country, but we knew a lot about the United States.
Wow. Okay.
All our case studies, everything was done in companies here. All the marketing stuff, that the practical things were done, in companies that exist in the United States, but they had no footprint in Romania. And, they jokingly said, you might just as well go to Romania, to the United States, because there is nothing much for you to do here. You just have to get retrained in the Romanian work. And I had jobs during college and in sales, and I just could not get along with mentality that was in the market. And, going to school and learn about the US economy and going to work and just see the Romanian mentality, it made perfect sense for me to leave. So I came here right after I graduated. I was 21 and a half, and it seems that my entire courage just ran away because I got here. I was like, okay, what do we do next? And, it went out fine. I just had to pick up jobs that, now you're looking back and you start laughing, but they all probably build me up. And that's the love of the restaurants, because I worked with Ritz. Ritz trained me for the first time into what be a great food and beverage person. I had no idea before. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll do it once again, same way, but
Yeah.
it
You
was a
wouldn't
great
change it.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that Ritz-Carlton training course
Yeah.
is quite phenomenal. They still offer it to this day. And someone in my forum just took her whole team to the Ritz
Yeah,
in Georgia and did like a 4-day training. She said it was completely amazing.
totally, completely. Yeah. And I was there, one of their employees. So for me, even better because, they will promote me all of those kind of jobs and things based on the courses I was taking. So that went great. But the thing is, I graduated in marketing. So I really wanted to do something, in the economy. I mean, they had to do with economy and had to do with,
Yeah.
businesses. And I moved to Atlanta and I started, to work in banking in 99. And, my life just took off from there.
Which bank did you work for?
Well, Bank of America they're crazy enough to hire me. I'm sorry. I mean, think about it. Someone who had nothing to do with banking, again, my marketing and sales. I did a lot of sales for my mom for her business. And then Ritz-Carlton food and beverage
Yeah.
certificate, diploma, whatever they call it. That's all I had. And they took a chance on it. I mean, I had like 6 different interviews with 6 different managers, but they took a chance. And I even thank him now for that chance because probably my life would have been different. Took a chance, and I was a top performer every year. For some reason, I like to be a top performer in everything I do.
I know that about you, Jon. I know that about you. That's a good trait. It's draining, I know at times, but it's also means you put your best foot forward all the time, which is excellent. So I'd love to know, like, just share with me a little bit, like, what problem do you think you solve right now? Obviously, you've had an interesting career, finance, restaurant, beverages, sales, family business. And we talked earlier about you've obviously learned a lot about exiting and selling businesses, but like, what do you think if someone was to come to you now, like what does that type of person look like? Are they, so that they're selling, maybe they're looking to buy a business, but how do you help them? What do you think you really do to help them?
It's an interesting question because in 2019, I stopped taking clients. I felt, and maybe I was wrong, but I felt like by taking clients, I'm competing with my own agents. And it just, to me, it didn't feel right. So the type of person that I would talk to today would be more, a conversational style. You won't be like, let me sign you up as a client. It's more like, tell me everything you want to know, or, give me some details about, what you're trying to accomplish. And we go from there. And if I see a fit with any of my agents, then I'll just introduce them to them. But I'm still going to be behind the scenes. For every recommendation that I make to my agents, I'm behind the scenes all the time. So if the person I'm referring to, or not referring because they are part of my team, but I'm giving to them, I'm still there in the background trying to monitor everything that's going on. But yeah, it's more conversational. All this networking, all the CEO events that I'm going to, and people say, hey, I'm looking for this. What do you think I should do? And we're changing it to conversation, just what do you want to do? Because a lot of people want to do one thing, but they're starting in the wrong way, where the perception is different from the results they want to achieve. So, conversation can go either way, but it's definitely not about signing up as a client. That happens to lost.
Yeah.
If you ever can.
Yeah. So you're helping people just figure it out initially, like, getting to the depths of what they want, what they see their future looking like, and help them to figure it out with their business. And
exactly.
Great. Yeah. I like
if
that.
I can. I mean, sometimes I cannot, but
No.
if I can, absolutely.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. Sounds good. So, I love this next question. I think I know what you're going to say. So it's an introspection question. If you were to do this all again, Jon, would you do it all over again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would just learn my lessons before I did. So I wouldn't have that much.
Yes.
But yeah,
Very nice.
no, I would do it again. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. And it keeps on being fun.
Yeah.
I love what I do. I would do it again. Hopefully I'll keep doing this for the next 5 decades if I can.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, no, definitely.
Good. Love the fact you said yes. I knew you were going to say yes. Because you always turn up smiling. That's important. So, and now my next question, I just need you to talk about hobbies. Like, I know you're making really good red wine right now. So, and I haven't had you haven't given me a bottle yet, which is a little bit upsetting. I've seen the bottles being.
We haven't seen each other for, we just did our
bottles been going around. I've seen them going around, Jon.
Yeah.
I think when Tim gets back, him and I need to meet with you. We need to drink some red wine.
Absolutely. It will be my pleasure. And yeah, I mean, I'm giving wines to people that are interested, because not everybody likes red wine, right? Not everybody likes a good red wine. Some people are okay with whatever they buy from stores. But yeah, we started making our own wine, my partner and I, back in 2011. And the reason is that back then, obviously, money were not as good as they were now, but the quality of the wine we're looking for was still very high. So I said, okay, I'm not going to spend $60 for a bottle of wine that I like.
Yeah.
We can start making our own. And he comes from 4, 5, 6 different generations of winemakers.
Wow.
I kind of share the same past. My first memory as a kid was into this log barrel where my grandma put me on, so I would not run around and disturb everybody. So I was just in this large wooden barrel looking at the sky. That was my first memory as a child. And of course, probably the smell coming out from the barrel kept me more, sleepy than awake. So everything worked out good. But yeah, so we started off, and the first year we got as much vinegar as we possibly could. We called it wine, but it was really vinegar, and people drank it just because it was ours. But they were like, okay, I don't even like it. So we threw a lot of it away. And then in 2012, we really took it seriously, and we went to California to get trained.
Right.
And then, life changed and the quality changed. And in the past 3 years, we're able to perfect this recipe that is based on Côte Shiraz. Took us 3 years, but now we're very good at it. And everything comes the same way year after year. So this year we said, okay, enough with red. That keeps going well. Let's do wine. So now we try to come up with a good recipe for white. We both like Sauvignon Blanc. Laura, my wife, and his wife liked the Sauvignon Blanc. Trying to add a little bit to it, so it's not going to be like the Sauvignon Blanc from the store.
Yes. Love.
See how it's going to come. We are very curious. So we'll know in actually 4 weeks from today.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put that on my calendar. 4 weeks from today.
Yep. December 1st.
Okay. This is really exciting that you're doing that. I love that. And I know you enjoy it. I heard you talking about it, and it's great that, the taste is better than vinegar. Sounds like it's a lot better than vinegar. So it
totally changed from vinegar.
Totally changed.
Red wine vinegar. I think we came up with that.
Yeah, red wine vinegar. And I didn't know you could go out to, maybe this is obvious, I didn't know you could go to California and go get trained.
Well, we didn't go to classes and things. He's part of the families from there, and they are very good winemakers.
Oh, okay.
We went there, and they introduced us to some wineries and things. So we had to go there, take a lot of notes, drink a lot of wine. But
yeah, you had to drink a lot of wine when you were there. That must have been really hard for you.
Yeah, definitely.
What else are you passionate about, Jon, outside of drinking lovely wine and doing what you love to do best with your job? Is there anything else you get up to?
Well, we like traveling, and as a matter of fact, we travel a lot, and I just don't see myself stopping anytime soon. We like going to different countries, we like experiences different things. We unfortunately, because every time we go somewhere, we want to be in a newer place, or we can discover new things. Some of our friends, don't like us anymore because they want to just stick to this resort because they love it, and they're going there every year after year. I was like, don't you get bored? I mean, exactly. You even know the waitress name, all the bartender names. I mean, why? But different people are are behaving differently when it comes to vacation. Some of them want to be, totally new into a place like we are, and I want to learn and I want to experience, and maybe sometimes I'm taking risks and I'm going to places that I shouldn't go. Some people are going to be extremely comfortable when they go somewhere and they don't want to move a finger. But we decided to go explore. So so traveling, it's kind of quite a bit in my high priority list when it comes to things to do outside of work.
Yeah. No, I'm actually completely with you. I'm always.
Yeah, I saw you in different places too.
Well, I'm terrible. When I'm on a trip, I've already booked the next one. It's like, I don't spend a lot of money I do spend a lot of money on handbags, but I spend it more. My husband says, like, can you just can we just get past the vacation before you book the next one? But for me, learning is about immersing yourself in different culture and pushing yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, our trip to Cape Town, I think, which we both did together with EO, was definitely. I mean, I know Cape Town is, it's a popular place. It's not like it's that extreme, but some of the things we did were really, really interesting that you wouldn't typically do. Like going to a school, and we were painting the school, weren't we? This elementary school, and just getting into the actual community. And I love, So I'm in agreement with you. I don't want to go lay on a beach. I want to go and learn. So we have that in common. So we have wine in common. We have vacations in common. So many things, Jon. Anyway, you have been an absolute pleasure to chat with today.
Same here.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. So how can people get hold of you if they want to reach out and ask you any questions?
Well, the easiest way is obviously through you, Jon Roman, but also my email is jroman@tworld.com, T as in Tom, so tworld.com. That's the best way. And of course I'm on social media, Facebook and all that, Twitter, Instagram, all that.
And Roman is Roman, in case anyone is just wondering what the spelling is.
World.com.
Perfect.
That will be.
For sharing that.
Yeah. And I want to say, for anyone that wants to get in touch with me, there is no such thing like stupid questions. Because none of us knew anything before we started to get knowledge, right? I mean, we gone through things like I explained in this interview that kind of made me realize what's important and what's not. So I failed many times to let others do it. So
so it's okay to fail.
It is okay to fail, but if you fail too many times before you
on the same topic, you got to learn from it. Learn from it. Yeah. So, thank you so much, Jon, for joining us.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you to our audience. If you learned something today, maybe we made you laugh. I like to make people laugh now and again a little bit. Tell someone about EO Atlanta Taking Flight podcast. It's been another exciting episode of EO Atlanta's Taking Flight, and I look forward to seeing everybody next time. And so that wraps up another episode. Thank you for joining. For show notes and other episodes, visit us at takingflight.live. For more information about EO Atlanta, visit eoatlanta.org. Special thanks to the following sponsors: